I always thought my tattoo was just a bad decision from my college years, a tribal design inked on my arm during a wild night in a seedy parlor. But last Tuesday, as I sat alone in my dimly lit apartment, it began to whisper. At first, it was faint, like the rustling of leaves. I thought it was the wind slipping through the cracked window, but then the whispers grew clearer, speaking of things no living person should know. Secrets of the afterlife unraveled in hushed tones, and I felt an icy dread seep into my bones. The whispers spoke of a realm beyond ours, where souls wander lost in eternal twilight. They told me of the shadows that feed on despair and the cries of those who never found peace. I was paralyzed, unable to tear my gaze from the ink as it shifted, revealing ghostly figures and twisting patterns. I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination, the remnants of a guilty conscience, but the details were too vivid, too real. The tattoo seemed alive, pulsating with a sinister energy that tugged at the corners of my sanity. Desperate for answers, I returned to the tattoo parlor, but it had vanished, leaving only a crumbling storefront. The whispers continued to grow louder each night, tormenting me with their spectral revelations. I found myself scribbling down the secrets, compelled by a force I couldn't comprehend. The more I wrote, the more the tattoo seemed to consume my thoughts, as if it had a mind of its own. I realized I was no longer in control, a puppet to the ink's insidious will. The climax came when the whispers demanded a sacrifice, a soul to appease the restless dead. I fought against the ink's command, but it was too powerful, wrapping around my mind like a vice. It wasn't until I stood on the edge of a bridge, the cold wind biting at my skin, that I understood the horrific truth. The tattoo had marked me as a conduit between worlds, a bridge for the dead to cross. As I teetered on the brink, I realized the final secret. The tattoo had never been inked with regret, but with the promise of eternal servitude.